What do you want for your last meal? You might not get a say in it. These outbreaks of foodborne illness slipped by all the safety checks, leading to illness, hospitalization, and even death. Here's what you need to know. It turns out cheese can kill. In February 2024, Rizzo Lopez Foods recalled more than 50 dairy products, including cheeses, sour creams, and yogurts, after they were linked to an outbreak of Listeria. Rizzo Lopez produces and supplies dairy products under a variety of brand names, including Tio Francisco, Food City, and Whole Foods 365 brand, among others. And major grocery stores including Trader Joe's and Costco had to recall pre-made meal kits and a salad dressing that used the cheeses named in the recall. In total, there were 26 reported cases linked to the tainted products, including 23 hospitalizations and 2 deaths, spanning 11 states. It was serious enough that in October, a California court banned Rizzo Lopez from operating until they cleaned up their act, complying with the FDA regulations they'd been skirting. First cheese, and now chocolate too. In May, Claussen Quality Chocolate recalled 10 of its chocolate products, many of which were sold in bulk, over the possibility they were contaminated with salmonella. The recall spanned 9 states, but was never publicly linked to any active salmonella infections. The FDA categorized this one as a Class 2 recall on a scale of 3, so this one posed less of a threat to public health than some of the more dangerous salmonella scares. Nevertheless, according to a figure published by the Food Industry Council, Claussen recalled over 4.3 million pounds of chocolate, which is a glorious image, if you ignore the fact that all the deliciousness could give you the serious ick. This one's alarming in a number of ways. On May 3, 2024, Danisco USA recalled a wide range of food products over the possibility of salmonella contamination. You've probably never heard of Danisco, but it's one of the world's biggest ingredient suppliers. And it's just a small part of a truly massive corporation called International Flavors and Fragrances Incorporated. Once again, this recall was about that repeat offender, dairy. It included 36 different products, including whipped cream, coffee creamer, and yogurt across 24 states. A representative for International Flavors told Consumer Affairs that Danisco wasn't necessarily at fault, since it was one of its suppliers down the line that reported the possibility of salmonella contamination. An in-house test at Danisco USA was negative for salmonella, but the company issued the recall all the same. The FDA categorized this as a Class 1 recall, and no salmonella cases were ever linked to Danisco USA products. Salmonella, Listeria, and E. coli are some of the most common culprits behind foodborne illness. But there's one we haven't yet mentioned. It's a lot more rare and a lot more deadly. It happened in June and triggered one of the biggest food recalls of 2024. And this time, it affected that busy person's lifeblood, coffee. Specifically, a company called Snapchill recalled just under 300 canned coffee products, made for over 100 coffee brands, including names like Cape Cod Coffee, after determining that they could harbor Clostridium botulinum bacteria, better known as botulism. This one's complicated. Snapchill doesn't actually produce coffee, it cans it. It's the technology that turns hot brewed coffee into canned cold coffee, while retaining that hot coffee flavor. No botulism cases resulted from any of the recalled products, and the company never actually found the deadly bacteria at its production facility. It was actually a notice from the FDA that Snapchill hadn't filed its paperwork with them that triggered the recall. But since botulism can kill, and not even a good cup of coffee is worth dying for, decisive action was warranted. Cheese, chocolate, coffee, and now ice cream? What fresh hell is this, 2024? In June, ice cream manufacturer Totally Cool instituted a gargantuan recall. 64.4 million pounds of ice cream products it produced for a range of nationally well-known brands due to a risk of listeria. This one is a stab to the ice cream lover's heart. Among more than 60 products Totally Cool recalled were Chipwich ice cream sandwiches, a Friendly's ice cream cake, Hershey's cookies and cream ice cream cones, and Ginny's ice cream sandwiches. No salmonella infections linked to the recalled ice cream ever surfaced. So in that sense, Totally Cool's decisive action paid off. However, just about 2 months later, Totally Cool filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy as a direct result of the recall. It was probably the most notorious food recall of 2024. Millions of pounds of boar's head deli meats were linked to a deadly listeria outbreak in July. In fact, this was one of the biggest meat recalls in U.S. history. It started on July 26, with a recall of more than 207,000 pounds of deli meat. But just 4 days later, after a boar's head liverwurst product pinged positive for a strain of listeria connected to an active outbreak, the company expanded the recall to 7.2 million pounds. This included every last slice of deli meat produced at the plant behind the infected liverwurst. This one was deadly serious. By the time the CDC declared the outbreak over, which wasn't until late November, there had been 60 hospitalizations and 10 deaths in 19 states, all due to boar's head-linked listeria infections. It's earned a spot among some of the deadliest cases of foodborne illness in U.S. history. And although the recall is over, there are still active USDA investigations into both the way the company handled things and general manufacturing conditions. Plus, there are multiple lawsuits in the works. So if you want to skip the boar's head liverwurst, at least temporarily, no one would blame you. Breakfast lovers beware. In September, the FDA tested eggs from a company called Milos Poultry Farms and found them positive for salmonella. For science nerds, there was already an active salmonella outbreak, and the agency linked Milos eggs to the cause by using DNA technology. At first, the recall included eggs sold under the Milos Poultry Farms and Tony's Fresh Market labels in Wisconsin, Illinois, and Michigan. That first round consisted of 108,000 egg cartons, but soon it was nearly doubled to over 345,000 cartons, including duck eggs under the Happy Quackers Farm label and free-range M&E Family Farms chicken eggs. The salmonella outbreak linked to Milos Poultry Farms was confirmed to have affected 93 people in 12 states, 34 of whom were hospitalized, mostly in the farm's home state of Wisconsin. Cheese, chocolate, coffee, ice cream, and now McDonald's? 2024 was a terrible year for comfort food. In October 2024, some McDonald's customers contracted E. coli from Quarter Pounders. By the following month, the outbreak ballooned to 104 cases across 14 states, including 34 hospitalizations and 1 death. Unsurprisingly, the outbreak affected McDonald's business, as nobody wants a side of food poisoning with their sandwich. That said, McDonald's never actually recalled its Quarter Pounders. They simply removed them from the menu for a time, before bringing them back without onions. That's right, it was onions supplied to McDonald's by Taylor Farms that carried the bacteria. And for what it's worth, it wasn't just McDonald's, but chains like Taco Bell, Burger King, and KFC that were forced to remove onions from their menu. However, when the CDC interviewed everyone who got sick, they all talked about eating a McDonald's Quarter Pounder beforehand. No illnesses were linked to Taylor Farms onions at any other fast food chain. October 2024 was a busy month for food recalls. The second of 3 to make it on this list involved pre-cooked chicken and turkey products provided to retailers by a company called Bruce Pack. It all started with a routine USDA inspection of the pre-made chicken that found listeria. Now, Bruce Pack is one of those mega food companies that supplies poultry to a bunch of popular grocery stores nationwide, and well over 200 schools as well. Stores required to recall products included all your favorites: Sprouts, Costco, Aldi, Target, Walmart, Trader Joe's, and Kroger, among others. And impacted items weren't just packaged under store-named brands, but included third-party products found in grocery stores at every level, including Dole, Taylor Farms again, Reds, and many others. Luckily, there were no reported illnesses from any of the recalled products. That said, the company recall added up to more than 11 million pounds, which, if you let yourself think about it, is a lot of spoiled poultry. We suggest not thinking about it. Moving on, but still crushing comfort food dreams, this time it's a blow to carb fanatics. In October, Treehouse Foods recalled a huge number of Waffle products after routine testing determined that they might carry listeria. Treehouse Foods waffles are packaged and sold under a pretty wide variety of labels, and the initial recall included more than 600 products from brands like Best Choice, Clover Valley, Food Lion, Giant Eagle, Great Value, Kodiak Cakes, Publix, and more. So many waffles. And less than a week later, the company expanded the recall to include everything produced in the facility that made the waffles from that first positive test. And they added pancakes. To give you a sense of the size and scope of the food manufacturing business, recalled items were distributed nationwide and in parts of Canada. That's hundreds upon hundreds of prepackaged waffles, but they seem to have been recalled in time because no illnesses were ever traced back to bacteria from Treehouse Foods' facility. In November 2024, people got sick after contracting E. coli bacteria traced back to organic carrots from a business called Grimway Farms. At 2 Organics, as is often the case in vegetable recalls, Grimway didn't package carrots under its own label, but supplied plenty of popular brands throughout the United States, Puerto Rico, and Canada. Recalled products included both whole and baby carrots sold under brand names like Whole Foods 365 Organic, Trader Joe's, Wegmans, and lots of others. Both Whole Foods and falafel brand, Fabulous Incorporated, instituted separate recalls of products that used Grimway Farms organic carrots. And the initial recall expanded days later, but unlike some of the other recalls on this list, the recall was too late for some. In total, 39 illnesses in 18 states were traced back to Grimway Farms carrots, including 15 hospitalizations and 1 death. This November, E. coli outbreak was limited to 1 meatpacking company in Minnesota, but it made 19 people sick, sending 4 to the hospital and leaving 2 with serious health complications. After identifying 15 E. coli patients who got sick in Minnesota between November 2nd and November 10, the USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Service figured out that ground beef processed through Detroit's Wolverine Packing Co. was responsible. Wolverine Packing Co. ships meat across the United States and ultimately recalled 167,000 pounds of various ground beef products. Fortunately, no illnesses outside of Minnesota ever materialized, at least publicly, suggesting that the recall was successful.